And now, Legal Perspective with Nick Clekis.
Auto insurance is something many of us don't give much thought to until we absolutely need it. That's why we're sitting down with Nick Clekis, owner of Clekis Law Firm, to break down the key things every South Carolina driver should know. Nick, great to have you back in the studio with us today.
Thanks for having me.
When we're talking about auto insurance, an essential part is the declaration page. What is that?
Well, that's what your insurance company gives you when you sign up for insurance. They tell you what your coverage is. They're declaring your coverage. And minimum limits in South Carolina are 25, 50, 25. What is that? That means that $25,000 is given to somebody that's injured in an accident as the maximum, $50,000 per accident, and $25,000 for property damage.
So the declaration page is kind of like a synopsis of your whole policy?
Of your coverage.
Of your coverage.
Right.
Okay. And now, is there certain coverage that's optional?
Yes. So when you get a policy, it automatically comes with uninsured motorist coverage. So what does that mean? That means that you get your $25.50, so that if you run into me and I get injured, the most your insurance company will pay me is the $25,000. If I have more than one person in my car, the most any accident will pay is $50,000, and the most that you'll pay for property damage is $25,000. Well, also included in that is uninsured motorist coverage. So if we get into an accident and you don't have coverage, my uninsured motorist coverage will jump in and cover the case as though you were insured. They step in the shoes of the at-fault driver, and it doesn't become a chargeable accident to me. It's not like I'm at fault. My premiums don't go up. They just pay it as though you had insurance. Everybody's got uninsured motorist coverage that has liability.
Okay, but that is something that you have to ask for. That is not...
Not that one. That one comes with it. The one that you have to ask for is the underinsured motorist coverage.
Okay, what is that?
So UM is uninsured, UIM is underinsured. So let's say you run into me and I'm catastrophically injured and your $25,000 doesn't cover me and my neck surgery, then I jump to my policy if I have underinsured motorist coverage because you're underinsured for that case. And so then my UIM, my underinsured motorist coverage, gets stacked on top of your 25, and it will cover the excess, hopefully.
And now something that I know not everyone is clear on, I know I wasn't, when we talk about MedPay, is that just cover the policyholder?
No. So MedPay is another optional coverage. The law in South Carolina used to be that they had to offer it. Now it's optional if they offer it, but everybody has it. But you have to ask for it. Whereas UIM, under insured motorist coverage, they have to offer it and you have to accept or reject it. And we have a policy page here that, I don't know if they can zoom in on it, but if you see where it says underinsured motorist coverage, it says it was rejected. Well, that's not true with MedPay. So MedPay, if you want it, you ask for it. It comes in increments of 1,000, 2,500, 5,000, 10,000, whatever. And the way that works is if, let's say, you're in an accident and I'm representing you, and I'm going to give you a check for $25,000 to settle your case, and you have $1,000 in MedPay, you get an extra $1,000 on top because that money is yours. The lawyer doesn't get any of that money. The other side doesn't get an offset or a reduction. It's theoretically to pay the medicals, but the medicals would have been paid out of the 25, so you get it. Okay.
And does any of this play into like an umbrella policy?
No, umbrella is separate. So if you are catastrophically injured and your insurance doesn't cover it, people get a $1 million umbrella policy that covers everything after that. So people with assets, people that have homes that could possibly become subject to a lawsuit. So let me back up. So let's say you live in a mansion on the Battery, and you only have a $25,000 policy, and I'm catastrophically injured and I've got no underinsured motorist coverage, and my medical bills are $1 million. Your insurance company is going to offer me the $25,000, but I may say, well, that's fine. That's not good enough. I want Taylor's house on the Battery. So then you jump into your personal assets and you can get sued for your personal assets.
Okay.
So an umbrella policy is there to say, whoa, 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 you're not going to take my house. I've got a $1 million umbrella policy.
Okay. After talking with you about this, would it be smart practice for people to take their auto insurance policy and run it by a lawyer?
No doubt.
Okay.
Because really, the law in South Carolina used to be that minimum limits were $1,530. They bumped it up to $2,550. It's now time to really bump it to $5,100 because the $25,000 doesn't cover a whole lot. And I recommend to people that they ask their agent, hey, I've got $2,550. How much more would it cost me to have $5,100? How much more would it cost me to have $1,000 in MedPay? How much more would it cost for me to have the underinsured motorist coverage? Because you should really have those things, especially if you own your own home. You want at least $5,100, or if you're catastrophically injured in an accident, somebody is either uninsured or only has 25, you can put your policy on top.
Okay, wonderful. So ask questions and talk to someone who knows what they're talking about, like Nick Clekis. 843-9000000, Clekis.com is where you can go. And we'll have you back next week, talk about something else very exciting.
Thanks.
Can't wait. We're back in 2 minutes.
This has been Legal Perspective with Nick Clekis.